Broadcasting live on the UnitedWest.org AM radio network, simulcasting on DirecTV, iHeartRadio, Roku, and the World Wide Web. This is Enemies of the State with Tom Trento.
All right. Welcome to Enemies of the State. I am not Tom Trento.
No, you're not.
My name is Damon Rosen, and I am filling in with Mark over there for our intrepid leader, Tom Trento, who is on special assignment somewhere. And we can't tell you where, because otherwise it wouldn't really be a secret special assignment. Nope. Anyway, happy Monday. It is Monday, July 13th, about 6 minutes after 4 o'clock. Welcome to Enemies of the State, and hope everyone had a great weekend. Mark, how was your weekend?
It was very good, very good. Got a lot of feedback and comments off our Dr. Barrett, blow up, the crazy little doctor that we had. That was quite fun. Calling
him doctor is an insult to the term. But Mark is talking about our Friday show with Dr. Kevin Barrett, basically a living Muslim, Nazi, Israel, and Jew-hating agent of the Iranians who taught at the University of Wisconsin for all of one semester before an act of the state legislature demanded that he be removed from his position for poisoning the students that he was teaching on 9/11 truth as a 9/11 truther, meaning he did not believe that 19 Muslims were responsible for the attacks of September 11th, 2001.
That's correct.
Well, I'll tell you who did have a pretty good weekend, Mark, if you'll come to my screen.
Okay. Let me see. Let me pull that up here. Hold on. Okay, go ahead.
Who had a great weekend was drug lord Joaquin El Chapo Guzman.
Who's he?
Well, he is the former head, and I guess he's going to be the head again, of the Sinaloa Mexican drug cartel, who happened to tunnel his way out of a Mexican maximum security prison on Saturday.
Oh, great.
And he has managed to get out of prison. This is a guy that United States authorities were clamoring for extradition to bring him here to the United States, so this exact type of thing did not happen. But El Chapo Guzman is out. Now, Mark, let me ask you this.
All right.
If you are a felon
a Mexican
and don't want anything bad to happen to you with the authorities, where would you go?
Oh, I would definitely go to Mexico,
I would go to San Francisco.
Oh, okay. Oh, you're talking about in America. Okay.
I mean, El Chapo's best bet is head right to San Francisco, and the nut job politicians and sheriffs out there,
sanctuary,
they're not going to do anything for him.
So let me get this right. Let's say Mr. El Chapo here heads off to San Francisco, and he gets into San Francisco, and he gets into down in whatever district he is, and he gets arrested by the local police, by the cops for running a red light or something, and they pull him over, and ICE says, yes, give him to him. We want to extradite him.
Or arrest him.
And San Francisco, according to their policy, has to say what, Damon?
I don't think so. No detainer for him.
No,
now,
I'm sorry.
We're joking. We're being facetious. We understand that, yes, San Francisco authorities probably would arrest El Chapo Guzman. But as we all know, what happened with the murder out on the pier over a week ago now, you take a minor El Chapo Guzman, not the head of the Sinaloa drug cartel, but a middle or street level guy, and that's exactly what's going on. You have felons fleeing to sanctuary cities, contributing to the already cesspool-like conditions in many of these sanctuary cities, committing violent crimes, drug crimes, sex crimes, and our authorities do nothing. So why wouldn't you, if you're El Chapo, go to San Francisco?
Well, my question for you, Damien, is what's the criteria for extradition as a felon or or a murderer. I mean, El Chapo, okay, you say definitely it's El Chapo. He's going to be turned over. I'm not so sure about that, by the way.
I'm pretty sure, but...
All right, well, let's say it's, like you said earlier, like it's El Chapo's right-hand man. He's not as well known. Is that the criteria? Notoriety, publicity? Is that the notoriety that we have, our standard for deportation for criminals? I mean, it makes no sense, because where do you draw the line?
Where do you draw the line? This is where I would draw the line. I would draw the line and say, if you came here illegally, you are being deported. Deported. You're not getting a pathway to citizenship. How about, okay, this is where Donald Trump probably says he's going to win the Hispanic vote. Most Hispanic, legal immigrant of Hispanic descent people in this country do not want some expedited path to citizenry for people who have come here illegally. People who have gone through the lengthy process, done it the right way, paid the fees, waited the time, taken the citizen tests, done everything right. The last thing they want are these criminals and the criminal element coming through Central America and up through Mexico, whether they be from Central America or Mexico coming into this country. The Hispanics that are here legally, that's the last thing they want. So Trump is not too crazy when he says that he could win the Hispanic vote.
And the Hispanic, and also I want to add on to what you're saying, Hispanics don't want them because when they come across the border, these scumbags, these dirtbags, they don't move into, Palm Beach. They go right into the neighborhoods of where Mexicans live and where everybody else lives. And so they have to deal with these scumbags on a daily basis, them selling drugs, them doing everything else. And it's just
the gang activity
that comes along with them, and the whole murder. I mean, they know when these murderers come across the border, they're their neighbors. Literally, they're their neighbors. That's the reason they don't want them here.
And then they go in and intimidate. They shake down the legitimate business owners, and they do everything that a gang does, whether it be murder, drug dealing, extortion, which is very big, a very big thing, and I'm sure a lot of listeners are familiar with this, but many might not be. One thing that these Mexican and Central American gangs do is they extort other illegals here.
Right.
They rob them and extort them because they know that those victims will not go to the police because they are here illegally. So a lot of these illegals are still living in a world that is nowhere near what the real America is. They're still living in the shadows, and it's not the government's fault for not making them citizens. The response is not to say, okay, we don't want you living in the shadows, so we're going to make you citizens. That's not it. The idea is to not let them here in the first place. Yep. Legal immigration, until the rules of legal immigration come, that's it. Just what's legal. A lot of people have said, stop immigration now. Period. Legal immigration for a little while. I believe we need to stop legal immigration from Muslim countries right now. If we want to take in Christian refugees or religious minorities from predominantly Muslim countries as real refugees, that could be an exception. But taking 60, 70,000 Syrians a year in for the next decade can only lead to one thing, and that one thing is not going to be very good.
Oh, you're just a hater, Damon.
I am a hater. Let's move on. Tom wanted us to cover this. Oh, we got to do station ID. Would be a good start.
Yeah,
You're
sure.
listening to WSBR Radio, 740 AM in sunny South Florida. You are also hearing us at midnight on Red State Talk Radio, Studio B. That's midnight, Monday through Friday, redstatetalkradio.com. Studio B for you night owls, watch it, or you can listen to it there. If you want to watch the show, go to theunitedwest.org, and if you want to see a bunch of all the videos we have. Mark, how many hours of videos can they see on our YouTube channel?
Well, too many to count.
Thousands of hours of programming, whether it be the full shows, small videos. Mark's done a lot of high production micro-series stuff on the war in Israel last year, on Grover Norquist. Check out our YouTube page, youtube.com/theunitedwest. Check it out. Check out stuff on Extortion 17 there.
And don't forget to that donate button.
Don't forget the donate button. I've almost given up on the donate button. Almost. Before we get to what we're going to spend the majority of today's show on, we wanted to, we're going to go back to our Friday show and the infamous Dr. Kevin Barrett, lunatic Muslim Nazi extraordinaire. And we've had a lot of reaction to that show. 99% of it positive for us. He blew a gasket, took Mark about an hour and a half to bleep out all the profanities in order to have that show air on the radio on Friday. If you want to hear it minus the bleeps, go to youtube.com/The United West. But here's a story Tom sent me this morning, and it has to do with the wonderful communist mayor of New York and everything that he has managed to accomplish
there it is.
In the last... How long is he in office? Less than 2 years, I think. Yeah. And he's managed
he's literally urinated it away. He really has.
Yeah. Well, for the radio audience, here's the headline. This is from the New York Post late last week. 20 years of cleaning up New York City pissed away. This is the headline, the front page of the New York Post. 20 years of cleaning up New York City pissed away. Thank you, Mayor DeBlasio, and I am a native New Yorker. I don't usually like to admit that, but it's true.
This guy is urinating in the middle of the street and it's not arrested. Nobody gives you a citation or anything like that. And this is what was happening back in the 70s, as we were talking about earlier about this story. This is exact same that was happening in the 70s under, I forget who it was under, but before Giuliani came.
Giuliani cleaned things up tremendously. Even Bloomberg, as wacky as he is and as left-wing a nut job as he is, he kept New York clean and safe for the pedestrians. DeBlasio, who thinks he's black, I think, he acts like it. He's married to a black woman. He told his son, during some of the officer-involved criminal deaths, okay, he came out with some outrageous statement of that he had to tell his son to be careful of the police. It's an absolute...
Really, he's the son of the mayor. You got to be careful of police. Give me a frickin' break.
Exactly. Like the guy doesn't have a full-time detail in all likelihood. So here's a couple of things out of the article. Then we'll get to a couple other things. But the big point is here. When you let a leftist communist run the most important big city in the free world, maybe it's on par with London, but to many, especially in America, there's no doubt New York City is the heart of this country on financial, media, a lot of other things, okay? And probably the world. It's the most famous city in the world. And it, like Tom has said many times, how long does it take to build a house? 6 months? How long does it take to knock a house down? A day with a bulldozer?
Right.
What DeBlasio has managed to do is destroy something that took decades to build in less than 2 years. Here's an up-close look at a quality-of-life offense the city council wants to decriminalize. He's referencing the bum urinating in the middle of the street with a father and his young daughter watching. This urinating vagrant turned a busy stretch of Broadway into his own private bathroom yesterday, an offense that would result in a mere summons if Council Speaker Melissa Mark Viverito and her pals get their way. Wrapped in rags and a Mets blanket, the hobo wandered into traffic around 10:30 a.m. and relieved himself as cabs, cars, buses whizzed by between West 83rd and 84th.
Right in the middle of the street.
Middle of the street, middle of traffic.
There's the picture.
He finished his business at a nearby garbage bin, then strolled back to the front of a Victoria's Secret store at Broadway and 85th, where he camped out for the rest of the day. I'm sure the women shopping at Victoria's Secret are real happy to have a stinking, urinating bum hanging out in front of Victoria's Secret. Now, I'm curious, why would the manager of the Victoria's Secret not have him removed by the police?
They can't.
Answer probably is this police department under this mayor would tell him tough luck.
They can't arrest them. There's been a law that says you can't arrest people for urinating in the streets in New York City. It's a law. They will not arrest you. You go there and you drop your drawers and do your business right there in the middle of the street. They still can't arrest you.
Yeah, come to my screen real quick. Here is the bum. He's literally camped out sleeping And Victoria's Secret, come over here.
Okay. Yeah, right above it says Victoria's Secret.
I mean, this guy looks like he could smell him from Jersey.
I can smell him here. What are you talking about?
And he's camped out, and they do nothing. It's absolutely
It's insane.
Unbelievable.
And it's the same thing that's happened in San Francisco. And I got a trivia question for you, Damon.
Hit me.
How many sanctuary cities are there in the United
Over
States?
200.
275 or 6.
Almost 300.
Yeah.
We are taping from a sanctuary city right now.
Yes, we are. Yes.
Don't say the city, but the little city we are in, let's just say it ends with less. The city we're in ends with LESS.
That's true. That's definitely true.
Mark Viverito in April announced plans to decriminalize public urination along with 5 other low-level offenses: biking on the sidewalk, public consumption of alcohol. Public consumption of alcohol.
We can drink a beer and take a whiz at the same time. Is that?
Well, I guess they kind of go together. Being in a park after dark.
I could be in a park taking a whiz, drinking a beer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Failure to obey a park sign and jumping subway turnstiles. We're going right back to the 70s and 80s right now.
So I can take the subway to the turnstile to Central Park, jump it with a beer in my hand, run out to the park, take a whiz, and nothing would happen.
And hang out after dark.
And hang out after dark in front of.
Yes. And all of this is going to be decriminalized. Police Commissioner Bill Bratton, who is okay, he's completely handcuffed by the DeBlasio administration, who in the early 90s implemented a, quote, broken windows approach to policing to dramatically cut crime.
Yeah,
is against the new plan, saying such offenses lead to more serious crimes. He's absolutely right, of course.
The broken window theory, just to let your audience know, is if you have a broken window in a neighborhood, it invites and you don't fix that window, it becomes more and more of a crime scene over time, because now the vagrants start moving in and everything else starts. It just becomes bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until you cannot.
Till it's a crack house.
Until it's Detroit. Have you been to Detroit lately? Have you seen what the apocalyptic scene that Detroit is? That same scenario that's happening in New York right here has happened in Detroit, where it is you ever seen that series, the Day After Man or something like that? Life After People is what it's called.
Yes.
And how it just gets totally encrusted and overgrown with Detroit.
It's like a time lapse of how quickly all the building structures and the whole cities deteriorate without man and basic upkeep. How quickly you could see a city turn into a jungle, essentially, in a matter of a decade or two.
And that's the broken glass theory, and which is absolutely true. But I'm sorry I interrupt you, David.
That's all right.
But no, it's just happening and all these cities that it's happening in are not Republican-controlled cities.
No.
And I'm not trying to make this a pro-Republican or Democrat thing. What I'm saying is the policies that are there, this one where you have sanctuary cities, where you do all this, where you allow public urination in the streets, where you don't upkeep the thing, and you hand out money, like it's candy to people who don't do anything with it. It's just insane. It's just, and it leads to Detroit and what's this bum sleeping in the street.
Baltimore. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. But let me just finish up with this article and we'll move on, because we're running a touch behind. I'm going to finish this one off. So Bratton is against this, okay? Bratton, who implemented the no broken windows, saying, okay, we're going to nip this at the bud, says that this new plan leads to more serious crimes. Bill Caprisi, who lives on 82nd Street with his 6-year-old daughter, was appalled by the street urinator. Quote, it's absolutely a failure of government. It's a total abject failure. The mayor could fix it. The governor could fix it. We need asylums. That's right. They do need mental asylums for people.
Yeah. Well, that's
an employee at Victoria's Secret, where the homeless man often lounges, said he drives business away. Of course it does. A smelly bum in front of your store drives business away. He curses people out, threatens lives, said the employee who works in the lingerie chain's loss prevention department. Customers complain about him all the time. He curses at them, threatens their lives, people complain, and the cops do nothing.
Nothing. Zero. And they can't. This is not the cops that are not doing it. This is the policy of the mayor that's doing this.
Right. It reminds me of the pre-Rudy Giuliani era, said Jim Hoover, who's been commuting through Penn Station since '86. The police aren't chasing them away anymore.
Wow. That pretty much says it all.
That's it. Let's move on from that story. But that's it. Show that headline one more time because it's so beautiful. And it really is. It is what happens when you let an extreme leftist take over a city. New York City, one of the greatest cities on the face of the earth, is being set back 20 years by the insane policies of Ed the Red DeBlasio. And that's that one.
Yep.
One thing I wanted to do real quick is it's getting to be the end of Ramadan, folks.
Oh, yeah, we got an update, don't we, Damon?
It's getting to be the end of Ramadan, which...
And there we go.
We're almost done with our Ramadan Bombathon scorecards, but it has gotten crazy. Mark, what's the score there?
All right, what we have is 3,142 wounded, 52 suicide bombings, 2,492 dead bodies,
Jeez.
and 265 attacks.
3,142 wounded as well.
Yeah, that's what I said first.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
So we have roughly a little under 6,000 victims of Ramadan bombing, shooting, stabbings, and other attacks. Let's just go over some of the headlines of the weekend. Ramadan in Cameroon, burqa-wearing Muslims murder at least 12 people in jihad martyrdom suicide attacks. Oh, Israel, Muslim, no, that's not the one I wanted. Ramadan in Nigeria, jihad bomb found in church before it could explode. Ooh.
It's just sickening. It is completely sickening. You see this, and nobody wants to report on it. But it's not Islam. Oh, no, it's not Islam, is it, Damon?
No, not at all. Ramadan in Thailand, Islamic jihadis murder 6, injure 11 in string of bomb and arson attacks. Hey, way to get into it. They're all over the country. Boko Haram, Al-Shabaab, Islamic State. But here's one that just combines the beauty of Ramadan along with the insanity of the Islamic State. And let me bring this one up real quick.
Well, I'm going to bring this one up real quick just to highlight it.
Here it is.
The
Canadian
Mirror? That's the one you're doing?
The ISIS Ramadan fasting story.
Okay.
If you have that one handy.
Okay.
Because I don't seem to be able to. Well,
I have the one right here. Which
is the Breitbart article?
No, the one with the Canadian Mayor.
Oh, here we go. I think
here we have Canada's Mayor says arrest not of Islamic State jihad plotter, not about Islam.
Oh yes, that's a beautiful story.
And I'll read the headline here. Of course, why should the arrest of a Muslim plotting to commit mass murder in accord with exhortations found in Islamic texts and teachings, and in accord also with the calls made by a group calling itself the Islamic State, have anything to do with Islam?
Why would they?
And that goes right around with the Ramadan bombathon thing. Nobody wants to put the dreaded I word with this when you have think about that. Think about that. 265 terror attacks. 2,492 dead bodies. How many planes full of people in an airline is? What's about?
Almost 300.
You look at that. You got 300 planes go down. 300 planes go down over a period of 2 weeks, and the press says nothing. Nothing. Are you kidding me? And we're not even talking about the wounded. What do you want to throw the other 3,000 wounded on top of that? This is just dead bodies. It's incredible.
Well,
and this is all done under the, religion of peace, like the mayor says, nothing to do about Islam.
It's their holy month, man. They're purifying their religion. Here is a lovely, actually, you know what? Before I bring that story up, I just want to read her exact quote at the end of that, because it is absolutely amazing.
Brilliant.
If you go down towards the end on that one, it is stunning. Here it is, London. Oh, my computer's kind of getting the death wheel that. But if you go to the bottom of that article, Mark, It is absolutely amazing. To quote her, here it is. I got.
Yeah, I don't have the bottom of the article.
Okay,
so.
I'm sorry. Oh, this was another one from London, and that was London mayor says ISIS flag should not be banned.
But ban the Nazi flag. Can't ban the ISIS flag, though. Yeah.
You can't have the Confederate flag.
You can't have the stars and bars, but hey, we can have ISIS, because, that Confederate stars and bars, that's killing so many people.
Absolutely.
But not the ISIS flag. That ISIS flag doesn't inspire anybody to kill people.
No, because, that Confederate flag is just responsible. By banning the Confederate flag in South Carolina and the other states, what we've done is we've reduced the black unemployment numbers. We've reduced the amount of black-on-black drive-by shootings in Chicago as well. South Carolina, thanks for doing your part. That removing that Confederate flag has done wonders for Black America.
Right.
Oh, unreal.
It's amazing.
Whoa, lost my earpiece. Mark, come to my screen, please.
Yep.
And this is just of all the crazy jihadi stories and ISIS and everything else, Ramadan, Bombathon. This one is beautiful. ISIS crucifies dozens for breaking Ramadan fast. ISIS crucifies dozens for breaking Ramadan fast.
This has nothing to do with Islam, though, Damon.
ISIS has nothing to do with Islam. Islamic State has nothing to do with Islam. I guess Ramadan has nothing to do with Islam. Fasting for Ramadan has nothing to do with Islam.
And Muhammad has nothing to do with Islam. Nothing
so there you go.
Nothing has to do with Islam.
ISIS crucifies dozens for breaking Ramadan fast. That says so much in one little nutshell.
Yep,
it's
really
absolutely beautiful.
It really does.
Now, Friday, Mark, I don't know, what did you do on Friday?
I think I just hung out at the house. Just watched TV.
You just hung out at the house.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And watched the numbers go up with our last video that we put out.
Okay. Did you have any? You didn't have a holiday or anything?
No.
No.
Nope, not at all.
You did not celebrate Quds Day like they did in Iran?
That's right. Al-Quds Day. I forgot about. I meant to do that. I know I was forgetting something Friday.
Come over to my screen here.
Yeah. I forgot about that.
Well, listen to this. Now, for those of you who don't know, Quds Day is a national holiday in Iran that calls for the destruction of Israel and the death of America.
By burning American flags, Israel flags, and
our leaders in effigy.
Yeah, right.
Either our leaders or Israel's leaders in effigy, the flags, the whole bit. Chants of death to America, death to Israel. Well, not only did they have their normal Quds Day celebrations, but they also released a new video game.
Oh, really?
Yeah, put that one back up again on my screen.
Catch that.
Iran launches Haifa missile strike game on nuke deal deadline. In time for Death to Israel Day, Iran releases cell game simulating strikes on Haifa in retaliation to a popular Swedish game.
Yeah, woohoo!
Fantastic. Yeah. I'll make sure to get you a copy.
Probably
you know who would like a copy of that game? I guarantee you, Dr. Kevin Barrett has got a copy of it because he does a lot of stuff with the Press TV, Iran's state English language state TV station. I'm sure he could probably get us one.
Yeah, I'm sure he could because he is such I'm going to call it just a well-seasoned speaker, just a well-seasoned, well-rounded individual when it comes to Jew hatred. I do have to admit that. But we do have the clip up there of what, for people who did not hear it.
You know what? Let's get to that one more story first, because this story is from Britain. Okay. But it is very similar to what goes on in our nation with the infiltration by the Muslim Brotherhood into our government and other areas of our society. But particularly, its infiltration of the government. Come to my screen real quick.
Okay.
This is from the Telegraph in the United Kingdom, one of the 3 biggest publications there. By day, at heart of counter-terror policing, and by night, preacher of extremism. Government watchdog, which inspects police forces' readiness for terrorism, employed preacher of extremism.
Are you kidding me?
I am not kidding. I just want to read you 1 or 2 things that this moron had said in the past. It is absolutely unbelievable.
But it's just, and also we can't forget. You come to that, but hey, don't forget we're going to be having the Monday. They're reporting we're going to have a agreement on our.
Yeah, now there's a holdup supposedly with the the conventional arms part of this. We've bent on everything else. We've bent on the number of centrifuges, the plutonium, uranium enrichment. We've bent on going into military facilities for inspections. We've gotten nothing. They've gotten everything. I mean,
what deal is there? There's nothing.
It's, what it's going to guarantee is Israel strike Iran. Is what it's going to happen.
Yep, it's exactly what's going to happen because there's no way. Deadline after deadline, and they're just playing us, and they're just playing us to say, hey, we're negotiating, and they're doing the same thing. It's about like you're being robbed, and you says, oh, you're negotiating for how much money he's going to rob you, and the guy says, I'm going to take as much as I want. I don't care. You can negotiate all you want, and that's what's happening. We're coming from such a weak position of strength and power. They're lifting sanctions. They're doing all this other crazy stuff, and it's just. They're just playing us for fools is what they are.
And part of the latest I heard over the weekend was as soon as the deal is signed, all the economic sanctions are gone. Boom.
Boom. Yeah.
Boom. From day one.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's nothing.
So on top of getting so very little, it's not even an agreement. Basically, we agreed to say, whatever you want, Iran, you're going to get. Right. But on top of that, we're rewarding them from the day one. This is as we found them last week. It was reported they've been cheating on the interim deal as recently as last month.
Yeah,
they're really going to abide by the terms of the deal.
Right.
When they're cheating during the interim deal, leading up to getting a final agreement,
right.
They're really gonna. Well, you know what? It's stupid to say that. They probably will abide by the terms of this new deal because there are no terms in it. And it lets them do anything they want anyway. So sure, they can agree to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Ridiculous.
They're not going to agree to inspections or anything. Nothing like that. In fact, the day of the agreement of was that they were negotiating before the last deadline, the Ayatollah supreme leader comes out and preaches to his followers, "Death to America."
Yeah.
I mean, how crazy is that?
On Friday. Last Friday was Death to America.
And Jake Tapper of CNN came on and asked the White House, do you think this is of concern that there's, as negotiations are going on, that they're screaming "Death to America" on, the Supreme Leader is screaming.
No, that is completely ridiculous.
No. And so the White House comes back and says, oh, that's just bloviating. He's just saying that to his people. Don't pay attention. Nothing to see here. Move on. They're saying, well, this is during a negotiation of nuclear deal. This could be a problem. No. Nothing to see here. Move on. Death to America means nothing. I mean, how clueless do you have to be?
It's unbelievable.
Anyway.
And it was also came up this year that Iran is still considered the largest state sponsor of terrorism.
Yeah.
Let's give the largest state sponsor of terrorism a clear path to the nuclear bomb.
Yeah.
We're not. It's pointless. It's absolutely pointless.
Yeah.
Let's get to Dr. Kevin Barrett. For those of you who missed it on Friday,
we'll play a little
Mark is going to rack up one psycho Muslim Nazi Jew hating a-hole. Here it is.
Understand now, just to set this up a little bit. We just came on the entrance of the show. Tom hasn't said a word to him. He says, "Hey, you're a Muslim," and then he just goes right into it. And Tom said, yeah, "Hi, sir. How you doing?" Just before this, but here we go.
But because it's the month of Ramadan, we're fasting.
Oh, you both are real live Muslims.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
yeah, and you're a real life.
Hey.
Already coming right out.
That's all right.
Well, that's the truth.
We're actually on AM radio.
That's okay.
That was a right cross right there.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, well, I mean, people who kick a group when they're down after they've been malandered and slandered, maligned, slandered, and beat up, and you make your living by going after that group. You're just one sick.
I'm sorry, we got to cut. We can't air that.
Yeah,
We're on AM radio, buddy.
Guys, this is 0 to 7 words, guys. Hey, man, hold on, I'm looking at the timer here on the thing, and it said that right from, I think it was like less than 30 seconds, 0 to jihad.
Oh, the guy can't compete. The guy cannot compete in the marketplace of ideas, so he just goes berserk hurling profanities
Right off the
instead of having a logical argument.
Yeah.
Keep playing it.
All right.
We're on AM radio, buddy.
Guys, this is, the 7 words,
You're a
guys.
piece of You're a human piece of
Go ahead. Well, let's do this. Do you want to be on the show? You want to have a show or not? Because we're on commercial radio. We now have to beat
Even
you
though we
out.
don't have
And,
commercials.
yeah, I want you to share your thoughts with us. Are you, as a PhD, capable of doing that without using the 7 words that can't be used on the radio? If you're not, then say that, and we'll take you off the show. We'll leave Issa on. If you think you're capable of doing that, you have to, sort of discipline yourself.
I don't really see any point in talking to a complete like you, Tom. You're just a worthless bully piece of
How do you really
making
feel?
money by being a bigot, being a complete creep, picking on a group that's been grossly maligned.
Stop.
Right there. Right.
Picking on a group
Right.
that has been grossly maligned.
Line. Right.
Mark, what percentage of that maligning would you say is due to, I don't know, blowing up people?
Chopping off people's heads.
Chopping people's heads off. Maybe that group has performed certain activities that warrants
Right.
a maligning, or at the very least, scrutinization of the doctrine that people are citing as they blow up other people, chop their heads off, shoot up crowds at hotels and shopping malls. Maybe that should be looked at a little bit, doctor.
Well, some of the comments online that have been about this whole interview, okay, where this guy just goes from 0 to jihad for no apparent reason whatsoever, right? Tommy's was very nice to him at the beginning, called him sir, said, professor, all this other stuff. And even in the pre-conversation for the show, we were very polite to him, never really, said anything nasty or anything like that. I mean, and so people say, well, why did he go off on Tom so much? And because Tom's like one of the most personable people out there. I mean, so, but then
Tom's nice to Jim Chowdhury.
Right? And so I said, well, what you did not notice about it, and the reason he went from 0 to jihad on us, is the picture that's over Damon's right shoulder right there. That's what made him go from 0 to jihad. We have the thing of the big of American and Jewish flags combined
American
together.
and Israeli flag.
American and Israeli flags combined together. And the Israeli Star of David is over Tom's right shoulder, and that's what's made him go.
Now realize
schizoid.
this is a guy who this guy is a severe 9/11 truther. Mark, come over to my screen real quick. This is one of the books this guy has written. Truth Jihad, My Epic Struggle Against the 9/11 Big Lie.
Yeah, he's totally convinced that the Jews did it.
Here's another one. We are not Charlie Hebdo.
Another one, he's convinced that
Free
the Jews did it.
thinkers question the French 9/11. What they're referring to is the Charlie Hebdo massacre, in which I believe it was 9 French citizens were killed. The cartoonists for the magazine Charlie Hebdo that had the gumption to draw cartoons of their beloved prophet Muhammad, the pedophile, raping, murdering warlord that is supposed to be emulated by modern Muslims today. People, you want to know why maybe this religion is a little bit maligned, so to speak, according to the Dr. Kevin Barrett? I'll tell you why. When the model that you were supposed to follow, Muhammad, had 9, 10, 11 wives, had sex with dead women in their graves, married a 6-year-old, consummated the wedding at 9, routinely, personally responsible for beheading between 500 and 800 Jewish men, and spreading Islam by the sword, raping and robbing for the greater part of his life. That's who you're supposed to emulate. Is it any wonder, Mark,
yes,
why the Middle East looks like it does?
Well, I mean, they're not. I keep saying for a long time, and you talk about ISIS being brutal and thuggerish and chopping off people's heads and acting like animals. They're not doing anything different than what Muhammad did. They were doing the exact same thing.
Exactly the same thing. So when our politicians
Actually,
tell
I think
us,
Muhammad is worse than ISIS the way he did his thing. I mean, he went out there and chopped off.
Yes.
I mean, hundreds of heads of Jewish people. Just went in and just personally whacked them off.
yes, I mean
Let's
get through this interview and then we'll come back because we want to show you a little bit. The interview is too good not to listen to.
Right.
And then we're going to show you a little bit of some of the other work and writings of this lunatic.
Well, I definitely want to get into how
Kevin Barrett.
the left has embraced. This guy's not just some wacko left nut job that we just pulled in off the street
Yes,
underneath
he
a
is.
rock. No, he is actually, a university professor teaching students.
Was.
That's what I said.
Oh, okay. I thought you said is.
No, maybe I did say is, was a university teacher teaching students, and he still has the credentials to do this. They haven't been revoked or anything, and we can get into that too. But let's go back.
Let's get back to the interview because we got a lot of good feedback from it. And,
10 years. I don't care whether I was a Muslim or not. I would tell you exactly the same thing. If you were running a show in Nazi Germany, talking about Jews drinking the blood of Christian babies.
That's what we talk about all the time.
Yep.
It'd be exactly the same thing that you're doing now. So you're a criminal against humanity, a piece of utter human scum. You are the lowest of the low. You are such a worthless, low-down scumbag and piece of that I don't have the slightest interest in ever talking to you again.
Why are you on the show then?
You understand?
I don't know if.
I know.
Let me ask the director first. Could we bleep that stuff out? I mean, or is he just going too far?
I've recorded it, and I'm going to put it out there.
Well, yeah, you can put out whatever you want. We have to follow laws of
FCC and all
We
that.
actually have it in AM
for a
radio.
doctor to understand.
Hard for a
and
doctor
look,
to understand.
I don't mind. We're free speech advocates. I mean, we were in Garland, Texas, came
Listen
under
to this,
attack
folks.
by the Islamic State.
Yeah, this
we
is
were
good.
there with Pamela Geller, and people
Came
tried
under
to shoot
attack
us.
by the Israeli secret intelligence.
Okay.
There we go. Let's
Right
just
on
go
the
with the
bat.
show. I don't care if it takes all night to edit this, to edit out his potty mouth.
I don't know if you caught that, radio listening audience. He's blaming Garland, Texas, on the Mossad.
Yeah, you know what? He wrote a whole article on this in Veterans Today, this psychopath's website.
actually-
Go ahead and come to my screen real quick.
I think this is what you're referring to.
Yes, Texas cartoon shooting, another Charlie Hebdo style false flag. This guy is saying that the Israeli Secret Service was responsible for the jihadis that shot up went to shoot up the Curtis Colwell Center in Garland, Texas, where we were live streaming Pamela Geller and Robert Spencer's first annual Draw Muhammad art exhibit and contest. He also thinks that the Israelis were behind the Charlie Hebdo massacre. That's how psycho this guy is. Back to the interview.
Yep.
God, he's so
Keep Dr.
good.
Potty Mouth on. That's
We're
right.
going to try, Issa.
Yeah.
Issa, we're going to try, because what we found on our show, when we got somebody like Kevin, we let him make our point. We let him speak. Now, it's going to drive...
Well, you have to understand something. I'm a bit more reserved than Kevin is, but that's by my choice. Believe me, I actually feel the same way about
Stop.
something.
So he agrees with
Stop. Issa feels the
same way. But he's just not a psychopath spewing
He feels the
F-bombs.
same way. All right, keep going, because this gets hysterical in a second.
Homophobes myself against anybody that's a bigot. I don't care if you're a bigot against homosexuals, if you're a bigot against Jews, if you're a bigot against blacks. Yeah, I think that they're the lowest scum on the earth.
So he thinks he's the lowest scum of an earth.
Yeah.
They're the very reason why we have so many issues. And in fact, I don't see any difference between Islamophobes and ISIS. I don't see any difference between bigots and ISIS. The only difference I see between, to be honest with you, the only difference I see is that you're not actually beheading people, but instead you're
Yeah, that's just a small difference. Just a little bit of a difference.
Just a slight difference.
There's a slight difference.
No, in actuality, what you're doing is, and Kevin is right about that, you actually are killing more people because of the
What is he talking about?
information that you spread you cause more people to buy into this because the average American wants their opinions made for them. They actually don't want to do any real research on their own.
Well, actually, I will agree with you on that.
Yeah,
So
but they should listen to a Nazi, Muslim, Jew-hating, Israel-hating guy. Let that guy
from
formulate
Salafi,
your opinion.
Right? This are from Shafi, and you.
Oh, he
you
doesn't
say
even.
that
He
this is
doesn't
what
even
is
reliance.
relevant
I think he's
to
talking about
Islam.
reliance of the
No,
trap. Guy's completely clueless about anything to do with Islam. He really is.
Yeah,
Leave that off the
When you ask a Muslim if they're Sunni or Shia,
They can't
and
tell
they
you.
don't pick one. Here's the thing: you might say that, oh yeah, I'm just a Muslim. I believe in the Quran. Well, where were you taught? Because if you go to a mosque,
Right.
it's either a Shia or a Sunni mosque. This guy
Majority
is
of them are.
inventing his own religion. He is below Zuhdi Jasser
Right.
as far as inventiveness or recreation of the doctrine of Islam. You can't say neither. That means you don't know anything.
Right. Yeah. The guy just complete. He can't even tell you the legal definition of anything. He doesn't even know that that book I showed him is actually a compilation of all 4 schools of Islamic jurisprudence, and he doesn't even know that. And that's what he said. His ignorance is just beyond.
His ignorance is only superseded by Kevin Barrett's
I
hatred.
know more about Islam and the doctrines of Islam and the teaching of Islam than this guy does.
I would say that's a fair assumption.
Reliance of the Traveler. The little
Yeah,
quotes
know.
that you pulled from
The
there.
one that's codified,
But-
certified, stamped by Al-Azhar University
By-
and everybody else.
Well, let them get
School of
themselves on the
thought.
record.
Yeah,
By
okay.
one school of thought. So, the
By one
thing
school-
is
no,
that
4
for
schools of
me,
thought.
I have a bit more tolerance to people like you simply because.
I mean, hold on. I
you know,
really have to highlight this to our audience. I'm sorry, Damon.
Go.
Is when I come back here and say this is codified, certified by all 4 schools of Islam, and certified by the IIIT, which is the book publishing company of pretty much the majority of Muslim books in the United States. The publishing house, the Fiqh Council of North America, which codified and certified this thing, is a jurisprudential body in North America that says what Sharia law is or isn't. They codified and certified
That's
it.
the authority.
There's
They are
authorities.
the authority.
I mean, it's about like saying, oh no, Princeton and Yale and all these other places, they have no, and Supreme Court don't pay attention, because that's what Al-Azhar is the Supreme Court of jurisprudence. I said Al-Azhar.
For over 1,000 years, people. Over
Right.
1,000 years. Al-Azhar University in Cairo, Egypt is the center of Sunni Islamic thought and jurisprudence. Not debatable.
Not debatable. It's ludicrous. It's about as ludicrous to say, no, the people coming from Harvard and Yale, they don't mean anything. They're stupid.
Well, the current ones are.
Well, I know, but I'm
politically.
saying there's nothing special about them.
That's like West Point.
Yeah,
It's like saying, it's like telling a graduate from West Point they don't know anything about the Army.
I mean, what are you talking about?
Ridiculous.
And you look at it, and they even say straight up in their documentation.
Well, let them
And-
get themselves on the
Thought.
record.
And yeah,
By
okay.
one
Hit
school
pause
of
on that.
thought. So,
Yeah.
Let's talk about this. Let's show a little bit. We'll get back to the recording. If you want to note where we stopped playing this, we'll get back to it tomorrow. But let's talk about this clown for a couple minutes. Mark,
Well,
you did some research
yeah, I
on
want-
this, quote,
Oh, we did,
doctor over
Yes.
the weekend.
Yes.
And he taught at University of Wisconsin-Madison for all of one semester. For
Right.
those of you who are
17
not
weeks, 17
familiar
weeks.
with the University of Wisconsin and Madison, Madison is the San Francisco of the Midwest. If you are too fruitcake for University of Wisconsin-Madison, you are too fruitcake for any teaching position in this country.
Right.
Outside of maybe the Nation of Islam. Oh, we're going to get to that tomorrow, how he loves
The
the
Nation of-
Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan.
Oh yeah, he's doing a march with him, by the way.
Yes, a million-
But anyway, so the University of Madison, Wisconsin. What it was the sub branch. What was the?
University of Wisconsin-Madison. That's
Yeah,
the
okay,
main
okay.
campus.
Yeah, okay.
Madison is the main campus
Well, anyway.
for University of Wisconsin. It's a big,
So go through
crazy
there.
liberal
He's teaching
hippie
this
town.
9/11 true stuff, in his class, which he's not supposed to be teaching. He's supposed to be teaching, Islamic introduction to Islam, blah, 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 blah. But he's teaching this 9/11 truth stuff. So the parents get upset that he's teaching this 9/11 truth stuff to his children. So they contact the university and say, hey, listen, we don't want this guy teaching 9/11 truth stuff to our children. And the university says, tough. Tough. We're going to let him teach it. So the parents get upset and they say, all right, we're going to take this to our congressman. And they took it to their state representative who contacted the school and said, hey, listen, this guy's teaching 9/11 true stuff. You got to ban him.
And we don't want our kids being exposed to this. One, it's garbage. Two, what the hell am I paying for? I'm not paying good money to have my kid poisoned. How about you teach them the topic you're supposed to be teaching them, not poisoning with something unrelated?
Truth, which is, yes. So the university still came back and said no. And they went to the dean, the board, and everything else. No. He has the right to free speech to say what he wants to say. Okay, so the state representative gets 56 other state representatives together and 8 senators, I think, and passes a resolution to have this guy kicked off the campus.
Come to my screen. I have it up.
Do you? Okay. There it is. And here's the
resolution.
Resolution. Thank you. And read the last part of it down there where they get down to the end there, Dave. In the next page, read right where it says, resolved that the undersigned members of the legislature condemn Kevin Barrett's conspiracy theory regarding the terrorist attacks of September 11, 2001, and Provost Patrick Farrell's decision to allow Kevin Barrett to continue the teaching of his academically dishonest views and be it further. Resolved that the undersigned members legislature demand that the University of Wisconsin-Madison release Kevin Barrett from employment as a lecturer and cease all professional association with this individual, and it be further. Okay, it was just, so it took an act of the House to get this guy removed for teaching a flat-out conspiracy theory to freshman students, to young minds of mush at the University of Madison, Wisconsin.
Yep. Let's look at a few more of his doings, because this guy is a real winner. Oh, what's this on my screen, Mark? Can you pull up my screen, please?
That's right.
Oh,
Kevin Barrett arrested
in abuse case.
Oh, he also ran for U.S. Congress, by the way. U.S. congressional candidate Kevin Barrett, a former one-semester instructor at University of Madison, Wisconsin, was arrested in Madison Tuesday for violating a restraining order filed by his wife, Fatna. I can't pronounce her last name. According to the Madison police officer, Lori Chadwick, Barrett turned himself into the police after violating the no-contact provision in his restraint. He was given a restraining order for wife beating.
I don't know if it was for wife beating. I read one, and someone's comment that it was wife beating. I read somewhere else that he'd hit his 13-year-old son because he did not lower the TV when required.
All right. To get a restraining order, you have to do something really bad.
Yeah. Here's a doozy, and this is one of his writings. The show ends in about 2.5 minutes. We're going to come back to Dr. Kevin Barrett tomorrow and continue our examination of this fruitcake. Can you go ahead and pull up my screen?
Yep.
Listen to this. And this is him speaking of the U.S.'s responsibility for 9/11 and falsely blaming it on the 19 hijackers. The best means of repentance and reparation, in my view, would be for the United States government to fund and build a new mosque at Ground Zero, covering the entire World Trade Center site, with twin minarets looming above in memory of the Twin Towers' destruction by genocidal Islamophobes.
We did it.
The minarets should be more than 700 feet in height, which would make the new structure the world's tallest mosque.
Yeah,
it was Islamophobes.
Islamophobia that brought down
the Twin Towers. It was not Islamic jihadis working for Al Qaeda. It was Islamophobes.
And the Mossad. Don't forget about the Mossad.
Unbelievable. Well, it's always the Mossad. If you're Kevin Barrett,
it's always and the Charlie Hebdo thing, that was the Mossad too.
Yeah,
Garland was the Mossad.
Yeah, it's all. Listen, blame it on the Jews. It's a really very bold way to explain away things. Here it is. Look at this article. Paris's Charlie Hebdo attack, another Zionist false flag. Folks, it is 4:59 in the p.m. East Coast time, 7:59 out west. It is 6:59 a.m. in Melbourne, Australia, if you're listening out there. I want to thank everyone for listening in. Tom will still be on a special assignment tomorrow, but we'll be right back here, bringing you more news on enemies of the state.
Yep.
Maybe me and Mark will switch up tomorrow.
No, that's not going to happen. No,
we'll have to see.
No,
We'll have to see if we get requests for Mark to come on this end. Things go a lot smoother, though, when Mark is on that side of the glass and I am not. Thanks for listening. Tea Party community, thank you. RedStateTalkRadio.com, theunitedwest.org. Thanks, Tom, for letting us fill in. See you tomorrow.